Lush, and I'm here in Davos at the Hub Culture Pavilion just outside the Ice House, and it is starting to snow. I'm here with David Boehmer. He's the managing partner for the financial services practice at Heidrick and Struggles. So tell me, we've been talking a little bit about the evolution of how we're looking at cyber. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really interesting the last 10 years how much the needs, the role, the profile have changed. 10 years ago when we were looking at talent in the space, it was the technical, what we call the hacker finder. Very much about technology, very much about how do you keep the bad guys out. It was a technical role. About 5 years ago, it was more around risk. It was potentially more with relationships with government, with agencies and such. And now the complexity of what we're seeing, we talk about the fourth industrial revolution and complexity of data and regulation and compliance, the roles expanded tremendously. You've got elements of data privacy, you've got elements of compliance. You still have the technology piece. You've got the relationships with agencies, with political factors around the world. And now you've got big data playing a part. You know, it's really interesting. We're seeing predictive analytics really play a big role now in cyber. We're seeing banks, JP Morgan, for example, building labs around NORAD. So not just the Silicon Valley labs, which is around innovation, but actually labs around predictive analytics and cyber and security. So it's just been tremendous how much it's expanded. And that's the need for leadership, for boards, for CEOs to think about it in a much more expanded way.
And do you think they are? Do you think they're struggling with it, or how do you think they're taking it?
I think they are. Listen, I think the last couple of years, it certainly is on almost every board director's agenda. If you look at we did a survey last year on the highest risk for chairman, for CEOs, and cyber was either number one or number two in every industry in every region in the world. So it's certainly gotten people's attention. I think it's what do you do with that attention? So the natural reaction is say, well, let's bring a stopgap solution. Let's bring a leader and organization in. But the truth is things are going to happen. We've seen issues in the US, we've seen issues globally. Things are going to happen. And so actually I think the evolution of the question is what happens when actually disruption occurs. And that's where business continuity now is actually an extension of what we're seeing in the cyber world.
I think it's fascinating, and I've been speaking to you. I spoke to CrowdStrike yesterday about how it's become an economic, a tool of sort of economic war. In fact,
absolutely.
And where do you think where do you think the danger areas are?
Listen, I think as we become more global, as data becomes more pervasive, as we think about the financial services world, as we think about how can we create better utilities, how can we think about settlements or reference data or things in a more cohesive industry-wide level, that means letting go of your data, and that gets very scary, right? So you think about blockchain and all these different sort of back office technologies which should bring great efficiencies. There's still that fright, that hesitation to let go of your data because of the business implications of it going wrong.
David, thank you so much for stopping by the Hub Culture Pavilion here in Davos, and I'm Edie Lush.